There are greater things at stake than glory or vanity. There is purpose.
You're right. He's gone. You're safe now.
No, he got the data. Now no one is safe.
Lord have mercy, I'm about to bust.
Rogues. In the heart of the Arctic tundra lies volcanic destruction. This is MeltDown. A geothermal energy plant, this top-secret AI research facility sits atop a dormant volcano. Or so we thought. Jackal has attacked this facility and has sent it to self-destruct, which our source at the base tells us would cause a chain reaction of catastrophic volcanic eruptions all around the world. That's where we come in. As you make your way through this facility, you'll battle both the enemy and the elements. Nestled in the icy tundra, MeltDown's multi-level compound provides ample vantage point to get the drop on your foes. Just hold on tight to those zip lines. The floor is locked. Well, you know. Available across King of the Hill, Team Deathmatch, Demolition, and Strikeout. Get ready to dive into MeltDown with a Year 2 Season 1 update in Rogue Company.
Wow!
Yeah, I think, at the highest level of who Glimpse is a genetic experiment that didn't go right. Now, it didn't go right not because she turned out incorrectly, it's because she had too much empathy. And so her creators were like, well, we need a true weapon. We need a lethal weapon that is going to be able to kill anyone that we want. We can just sick on them. But unfortunately for them, Glimpse turned out to have a soul, which is a good thing. At the end of the day, and so now afterwards, Glimpse is kind of looking for her captors and trying to seek revenge on everyone who did her wrong up to this point, which was what brought her into Mexico, looking for her captors, to where she ran into Guava. And now here we are with Glimpse entering the Roku universe with this release.
Yeah, a shimmer. So you can kind of see there's VFX going on. You get a decent idea of where she's at and where you can shoot and hopefully make some connections and do some damage. If you're moving at walk speed, you're going to kind of lose that VFX. You're going to be a little bit harder to see. Still not completely invisible. It's not until you either stand still or start to crouch walk that you will turn completely invisible. So it is possible, but it is going to cost you some movement speed to do so. And that's kind of the fun part about this character is making those decisions and popping in and out. This isn't a cooldown based ability. This is more of a stance change, if you want to think about it that way, where you have an energy meter. You can remain invisible for as long as that energy meter will last. Taking a little bit of damage actually drains that meter faster, so that's kind of some elements of counterplay baked in there for the enemies as well.
Now, Nick, so we have 3 different states of camo, right? And we worked through this pretty aggressively throughout the iteration phase. You have 3 different states. And when you're crouched and you're not moving, you are almost entirely invisible. So how do people find a Glimpse if she's just stationary, crouched, and hiding behind medium cover? Is there a way?
There is a couple ways. Obviously, we have reveals in our game. Reveals will work against her. Seeker, you got your Dallas, you got your sticky cams, you got all these types of reveals. She is not in any way immune or resistant to reveals. Nope. She will stay invisible if revealed, but you'll see the outline around her, and you'll know exactly through walls. Through a wall, she'll present just like any other character getting revealed would. But the reveals will not actually peel her out of stealth. You're going to have to play off that outline. And that information around that. You've also got what you can hear. If you're not playing with your headphones on and your sound turned up, you're not doing it right. There's a lot of audio stuff driven for this character. You'll hear kind of these low rumbling tones, something you've never heard before as she starts to get close to you, when she goes into stealth, when she comes out of stealth. As long as you're kind of within a decent range of her, you're going to be getting a lot of auditory information that's going to try and help you either locate or just be aware of her presence. And then, of course, at the moment when she comes out of cloak, that's going to play some noise. You're going to get some UI and kind of letting you know, like almost like a grenade indicator of like where she is and which way you need to turn and get ready. That's kind of the biggest balancing point for her, is how long that takes. So she's got to play a little bit of an animation to come out of stealth before she can get her gun ready and start to shoot you. That is your window to try and find her and counterplay.
Love it. Now, Nick, we kind of just touched on it so much in the panel, but ultimately, so her ability is on activation, she's going to go stealth. And there is a meter that drains up and down. Now, does that meter recharge as long as you're not using it? Or does it?
As long as you're not using it, it's not really cooldown based. It's just exactly time in, time out. You lose energy just as fast as you gain it outside of stealth. So you're going to be doing a lot of in and out, a lot of weaving from stance to stance, flowing back and forth between the two.
Okay, so the ability is that this is our first stealth character. She goes camouflage. There's a little bit of a window when she decloaks to where you hear a noise and a UI indicator, and then you can engage and understand where she's at. Now, that's one part of the character. The other part is the passive. Nick, this is probably one of our stronger passives that we've ever done, and also one that fits this character unbelievably well. Talk to me about this passive.
So the passive's called Heightened Senses, and it is just that, as a genetically modified person, it's kind of like a spidey sense in a way. You're the lady that sneaks up on people. This passive is going to help you prevent being snuck up on yourself. Think of Glimpse as somebody who has this otherworldly sense about her, whether it's hearing someone's breath or feeling their presence through a wall or something. Periodically, you're going to kind of get these pulses that if an enemy is close enough to you behind a wall or something like that, you're going to get a little bit of an indicator as to where they are. And then that indicator is going to fade until your senses kind of reevaluate your situation. So periodically, you're going to kind of pulse the area around you and just kind of get these soft directional areas that are indicating enemies are nearby for you to play around. Now, and use that information how you will.
For the passive, does it show how many people? Like, will you get multiple arrows for multiple enemies, or is it just one? Okay.
So it's as many enemies that are around you. Obviously, up to 6v6 is our biggest game mode, so you could get potentially 6 arrows on your screen. The audio is going to kind of escalate as you get more and more arrows around you. And hopping into kind of our gameplay kit here, we have a brand new gadget for her. It's a utility gadget. It's called the Pop Smoke. This is a character that has to kind of flow quickly. You're kind of in and out of combat. Sometimes you got to make a quick escape. And so basically all this is, it's a faster, more kinetic smoke grenade that almost in the sense that like a Semtex doesn't require a backboard or it can be placed pinpoint. That's kind of what this is, but for the smoke grenade family. So you kind of throw this thing, and the second it makes contact with a surface, it's going to explode and live right there. So this is really good for like, if you're on Wanted, kind of where we just were in those little cantinas, you want to smoke out a window, but you don't have a great angle or backboard, you can kind of just hit the windowsill right beneath that window where someone's looking, and it's going to kind of plume out from there. So anywhere, wall, ceiling, floor, wherever this smoke makes contact, that's where it's going to spread from. The point of contact is the center of the sphere. So kind of placing those appropriately. They're very quick, doesn't have to bounce, it doesn't have a fuse time at all. And these can be used to escape. These can be used as a normal smoke. Again, it's all about versatility and flow and making decisions when it comes to Glimpse's kit and what you want to do with the tools you have available to you.
Yeah, I think my favorite part about this gadget is the fact that, one, it's unbelievably kinetic, which always feels really good in Rogue Company. But two, there are those spots in all of our maps where you want to get a smoke into that location, but you just can't. It takes a perfect precision, and then sometimes you might be killed in the middle of that. Whereas this one, I can just throw it. I can throw it right at a ledge, and I'll be good to go. So I could throw it on the wall. It sticks on the wall. If you're playing favelas, you can throw it on top of the garage. You can make your move. There's a lot of new dynamic gameplay that can happen from this, which is just honestly the highlight of this gadget for me.
Yeah, and it makes it good for sneaking through as well.
It does.
That old smoke grenade. I like the balance and the parity that we have between our grenades, whether it be the bounce or the frag or the Semtex, and I think this helps sort of bring some of that right tool for the job situation to the smoke family. Again, I'd compare this closest to probably like the Semtex grenade of like, you don't need that backboard. You just kind of put it where you want and you rock and roll.
Now, Nick, when we're sitting here, we're looking at this kit. For those who are going to be the early adopters of Glimpse, what's the key to success when you're playing her? What is that play style like?
I think the key to success is working and communicating with your teammates, which I know can be hard when you're solo queuing. The goal, I think, for you to be successful, especially as you start to play against better and faster reacting players, is to not always come out of stealth directly behind somebody in line of sight. Use your stealth to flank, to set up pinches, to get good positioning that you wouldn't otherwise be able to get. So it's not always about sneaking up and ambushing. In fact, this character is really kind of designed away from ambushing. And I want you guys to use your information and use all of your resources to sneak and set up really advantageous fights for you and your team, whether that be pinching somebody, flanking somebody, whatever the situation calls for. Glimpse is about feeling like you have an option and you can make it somewhere. And you're never just trapped and you're never just screwed because of positioning or this, that, and the other. You should always feel like you can move around the map and get to where you need to be. You may not be able to shoot so great, but you can always get to where you need to be and set yourself up for success.
Hey, and that's a big part of the puzzle, right? I mean, we're really saying this character very intentionally flips the game kind of on its head. We're a third-person shooter where you have a lot of information. This character says, as long as you're deliberate with your ability, you can get behind enemy lines. Now, that comes with the fact that it's very high risk, high reward. If you get shot and your camo, enemies see the damage numbers, and you still have to pay the penalty to come out of stealth if you wish, right?
Yep.
And so there's audio that kind of gives you nearby cues, but if you are intentional and you do very smart flanks, you'll be able to get behind the enemy and really open up a big push for them.
Let's talk about some gameplay kit stuff here. What am I going to be shooting people with? So you can see, obviously, she's got the Nightshade assault rifle here. This is something that you're going to find on your Phantom, on your Vi. Like we mentioned our making of panel earlier, she's kind of almost has this sisterly bond in a way with Phantom, is that they have this kind of common thread that they come from these genetically engineered facilities. So they have this kind of same tech. Obviously, Glimpse was able to escape. Maybe she grabbed this Nightshade on the way out. But all in all, the gameplay here is that she is a relatively AR SMG. She's going to start with the Nightshade as well as the Night SMG. Obviously, for those of you that have those weapons mastered, you'll be able to kind of swap these bad boys and play her and kind of customize that as you wish. And we encourage you to do. We wanted to kind of start her off in a spot where she does have that AR, and that Night and the Nightshade are two of the closer range ARs and SMG. So that's where you're going to be kind of wanting to play with her. This is for you hot off the press. Basically, as soon as the character releases, this will be available. The old assassin here, a little bit of a different.
I love the red on her.
Yeah,
I love the red
really
in the hair and on her. I think it's these first skins that the character releases with. Our team's better job with each one, and this one really sings for me. Yeah. But yeah, I'd say that the Night Nick is probably my go-to with this character. It just seems to synergize very well. Her passive, it reads within 20 meters, which is where an enemy will be detected. And so when you're inside of that, the Nightshade is really good for kind of overall, but the Night, if you can get just a little bit closer, you can just gun people down. I know you always run that, and you're way better with it than me. I'm more of an AR guy, but I'm definitely gravitating towards the Night on this character.
Yeah, sure. It's a really dangerous SMG, actually, up close when you're connecting with all of your shots, and it's only used on Kestrel right now. So I was excited that we had a character that it worked really well in that real tight, close range information. What do I want to do with this? And we actually thought it would work really well on Umbra too, so we kind of accelerated it to make sure it got out in time for Umbra's release. But I would say Hunter, Padded Steps, and Life Drain. Obviously a big Life Drain guy, big playmaker here. Padded Steps is very important because we talked earlier about how fast you move indicates how visible you are. So whether you're sprinting, I wouldn't advise sprinting while you're invisible, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Sprint if you get found out, if you get shot. Even if you're crouch walking, if you get shot, as soon as you take damage, the worst, most visible level of stealth is applied to you. So even if you're crouch walking, when I take damage, I'm going to be fairly revealed for a little while. So that might be a good time to sprint. Otherwise, I think you should be crouch walking. You should be regular walking. And this was a character that I wanted to use to drive home the fact that we have this walk speed in the game, that it does matter, that you can, this padded step perk synergizes perfectly with it. It's this in-between sprint and crouch walk decision that you can make where you're pretty invisible. You're not totally invisible, but you're completely silent with padded steps. So you have a lot of, I think, wiggle room there. When you're not making sound, you'd be surprised how little people are really aware of you, and they may not be thinking about your presence at all, which means even though you're a little bit visible, they may not even see you because they're not hearing it. Their brain's not telling them to look over there. So it's this fun trade-off of like, do I want to take this risk of being a little bit faster and walking here, but I might get found out? That's kind of what I would advise. And obviously we've got the mastery rewards for her. This is a very flowy character, very graceful. So her mastery emote kind of reflects that. And this is the track. This is what you guys are working for as you master Glimpse.
I love that one.
You are. I actually really love the banners, the borders, the avatar for her. Really, really cool stuff. Big fan of all of that. Obviously, awesome mastery stuff kind of along the way. The Whisper on the Wind title is what she's got there waiting at the end for those of you that work your way all the way up.
And
to level
spoiler.
10 mastery reward.
And the big spoiler here, as you can see, a part of our Project Sane initiative, which you guys have heard a little bit about, we are adding more rewards into the Rogue Mastery track, and what you just saw in there is rewards 6 and 7, which we will dive into a little bit later on. But rewards 6 and 7 on the Rogue Mastery track will be there. 8 and 9 will follow soon after.
Yeah, and that's great. I mean, that mastery track was looking a little bare there. From levels 5 to 10. I need some more spice to get me over that hump to get to those titles.
And what better than an animated avatar and an animated banner?
Yeah, baby.
Once you got the animated, kind of the regular